Hi, Andrew Bell here. As mentioned last e-newsletter, today I start releasing the first segment of the annual property report. But before I do, I always like to start each e-news with my latest e-market report. CoreLogic released stats showing that 77.7% of all properties that went to auction across Australia sold last week. That's the highest success rate on a national scale that I've ever seen in my 40 years in the industry. Those figures are supported by our own auction results. Last week we submitted 34 commercial and residential properties, and the current success rate is in line with that national rate. It confirms auction is by far the most successful method of sale for sellers amongst all the methods of sale that are available. While so many sold well over reserve, one particular property sold 24% over the reserve price when it sold for $1,025,000. That was a $200,000 bonus for the owner. It was like a lotto win. Congratulations to all of those involved in those real estate transactions last week. Great success. There were so many happy buyers and sellers. It was a fun and enjoyable day for all. The second piece of information is that the Ray White Surfers Paradise Group recorded $79.6 million in sales in February. In fact, it was the best February sales month in 8 years. An incredibly strong result and certainly reflects the activity in the marketplace. Thirdly, our rental crisis deepens. We manage over 2,400 properties and our vacancy rate is currently just 0.4%. We desperately need more rental properties for the over 300 rental inquiries we receive every day. This is the perfect environment for any existing landlords or anyone thinking of buying an investment property to contact us, as we're getting some amazing rental results. If you fall into either of those two categories, please contact our Head of Property Management, Amber Roberts, on a.roberts@rwsp.net or 5509 600 so that we can assist you immediately. Now, to our annual property report. There are 5 key components that drive the real estate market, 5 fundamentals. And over the next few e-newsletters, we'll look at each of those. The first is GDP, or the strength of our economy, which filters through to every aspect of our daily life, and as such has a really strong effect on the real estate market. Australia's in a really tricky, challenging, multi-year transition from an economy previously driven by mining back to the traditional economy. And that transition takes time. Australia will be in a period of below average economic growth during this time of transition. Our gross domestic product fell from 1.1% in the March quarter last year to 0.5% in the June quarter, down to just 0.3% in the September quarter, meaning we had about 2.7% growth for the year to September. The property crisis in China accelerated the biggest hit to the Australian export and as such income to Australia in more than 2 decades. With a significant fall in capital expenditure in the mining industry, we've now been dependent on the non-mining capital expenditure. And pleasingly, residential construction is starting to pick up to fill that void, but it takes time. Just show you how significant residential construction is, in November just past, the Australian Bureau of Statistics confirmed that 1,054,000 people were employed in the building and construction sector. That's a new Australian record. On a global scene, the world's largest economy, the US, is in a strong growth stage, and that's due to its stimulus that's been taking place for some time. China is taking a breather from the breakneck growth it experienced. It's hovering around 7% growth at the moment, which is slow for them. Europe continues to be a huge concern. The European Central Bank is dramatically ramping up their stimulus efforts. And while some economies, such as Germany, are going gangbusters, we all know of other basket cases such as Greece. They've got a long way to go. Despite all the uncertainty and the end of our mining boom, Australia has completed its 24th year of uninterrupted economic growth. In other words, no recessions. The latest profit reporting season was strong and total revenues up 4.1% to $585 billion, and profits are up 31.4%. There is so much talk about our economy at present, and it does consume a great deal of media attention. The fact is, Australia is likely to remain in an unspectacular economic zone for the next 4 years. We just have to come to terms with that. The Reserve Bank forecasts our economic growth around 2.5% in the current year, but accelerating in 2016. CommSec Chief Economist Craig James said the economy has moved in precisely the right direction in the past few months, and that current economic conditions provide a substantial boost for a range of sectors. Of course, he was referring to the significantly lower Australian dollar that's helping our manufacturers, exporters and tourist operators, together with the lower interest rates, which are an attraction for business to borrow and invest in their businesses. You're going to see constant bombardment of different pieces of information, but if we can keep context, hopefully we won't be too spooked. The context is that at present there is nothing to rave about in our economy, but we are ticking along in modest growth. With our current economic conditions, we're seeing modest growth, and the conditions are providing a solid basis for the real estate market. Next fortnight, we will focus in on one of the most significant fundamentals that is driving the real estate market. So I look forward to being with you in a fortnight's time. Play safe till then.